Have you ever wondered who you really are? Not the name on your ID or the role you play in society, but who you are when no one is looking. This question may seem simple at first glance, but it carries a depth that we often prefer to ignore. After all, living without questioning can be more comfortable than facing the truth about ourselves. But are we being authentic, or are we just pretending to be someone we're not? Jean-Paul Sartre, one of the greatest existentialist philosophers, used to say, "That man is nothing but what he does." This powerful phrase sums up one of the main ideas of his philosophy. We are free to choose who we want to be, but this freedom comes with a heavy responsibility. And herein lies the great paradox. While some embrace this freedom, many of us try to escape it by living inauthentically, as if we were pretending to be someone else. In this video, we'll explore exactly that. The difference between living authentically and falling into so-called bad faith, a central concept in Sartre's work that describes the denial of our personal freedom and responsibility. Throughout this content, you'll be invited to reflect on your own life and identity. You'll discover whether your choices are truly yours or whether they're being shaped by external expectations. Most importantly, you'll learn how to find your true essence and live in a way that aligns with your deepest values. But before we continue, I would like to make a special invitation. If you are not yet subscribed to the channel, take the opportunity to click the subscribe button right now. That way you will not miss any content that can help you reflect on topics like this and transform your perspective on life. Also, turn on notifications to be reminded every time a new video is published. Now let's get back to our main topic. Why does this matter? Because in the modern world, it's easy to get lost in the pressures and standards imposed by society. Many people spend years following paths they didn't choose, living lives that don't reflect who they really are. This can lead to feelings of dissatisfaction, alienation, and even existential crises. However, by taking responsibility for who you are and the choices you make, you can achieve something rare and powerful: emotional and psychological freedom. It's like finally taking a deep breath after years of stifling your true identity. By the end of this video, my promise is clear. You will have practical tools to better understand who you are and how you can live more authentically. And I hope you feel inspired to let go of any masks you're wearing and embrace your authentic self. Because after all, there's only one thing harder than accepting who you really are, continuing to pretend to be someone you're not. Now let's delve into the heart of this reflection. To understand why so many people feel disconnected from themselves, we must first understand what Sartre meant when he said that we are absolutely free. This freedom, although it may seem like a gift, is also a prison for those who do not know how to deal with it. So, get ready to delve into the fascinating concept of existential freedom and discover how it directly influences the way we relate to the world and to ourselves. To understand why so many people feel disconnected from themselves, we must first delve into the heart of Jean-Paul Sartre's existentialist philosophy, the idea that we are absolutely free. This freedom, however, is not a simple gift or something we can ignore when it suits us. It is an inherent condition of our human existence, something we carry with us in every choice we make, whether consciously or not. Sartre argued that there is no predefined human nature. In other words, we are not born with a fixed destiny or a predetermined purpose. We are thrown into the world without instructions, and it is up to us to decide who we want to be. This means that every decision, no matter how small, shapes our identity and defines our path. Whether it's the profession we choose, the relationships we cultivate, or even how we react to a casual comment, everything reflects our choices and, consequently, who we are. But here's the big challenge. This absolute freedom comes with an equally heavy responsibility. When Sartre says that we are condemned to be free, he is highlighting that we cannot escape this condition. There is no valid excuse for shifting the blame for our choices to external factors, such as society, culture, or fate. Even when we feel trapped in difficult situations, we are still choosing how to respond to them. And this responsibility can be overwhelming. Think about how many times you've said something like, "I had no choice," or "It was the only option I was given." In reality, these phrases are ways of avoiding facing the reality of our freedom. Yes, circumstances may have limited your options, but the final decision, how you responded to those limitations, was yours and yours alone. And that's exactly what makes freedom so hard to accept. It forces us to take responsibility for our lives, even when we'd rather blame the outside world. This tension between freedom and responsibility is what leads many people to deny their own autonomy, falling into what Sartre called bad faith. Bad faith occurs when we pretend that we have no control over our choices, attributing them to external factors in order to avoid the weight of responsibility. For example, someone might say, "I can't change careers because I've already invested too much time in it." In this case, the person is denying their freedom to choose a new path, even if it means sacrificing their true desires and values. However, living in bad faith not only distances us from who we really are, it also prevents us from achieving authenticity. When we fully assume our freedom and responsibility, we begin to live genuinely, in alignment with our deepest values. It is at this moment that we experience what Sartre called good faith, the full acceptance of our human condition and the choices we make. So how can we begin to embrace our freedom without feeling overwhelmed by responsibility? The answer lies in recognizing that while we can't control every circumstance in our lives, we always have the power to choose how we respond to them. Every small decision we make, from getting out of bed in the morning to facing a challenge at work, is an opportunity to exercise our freedom and shape our identity. This may seem daunting at first, but it's also incredibly liberating. When we take responsibility for our choices, we stop being victims of our circumstances and start being the protagonists of our own stories. This gives us the power to create a life that reflects who we really are, rather than following the patterns imposed by the outside world. In the next chapter, we'll explore in detail the concept of bad faith and how it manifests itself in everyday life. You'll discover how to identify moments when you're denying your freedom and learn how to overcome these barriers to live more authentically. Get ready to dive even deeper into this journey of self-discovery. In the previous chapter, we explored how absolute freedom and personal responsibility are fundamental pillars of Sartre's philosophy. Now let's delve deeper into one of the most intriguing concepts in this philosophy: bad faith. This term, coined by Sartre, describes the conscious denial of our freedom and responsibility. In other words, it's when we pretend to be someone we're not in order to avoid the weight of our choices. Bad faith is a kind of self-deception, a way of escaping the anguish that accompanies our condition as free beings. It occurs when we attribute our decisions and behaviors to external factors, such as society, culture, or destiny, instead of assuming that we are truly responsible for them. It is as if we were saying, "It is not me who decides, it is the circumstances." But is this really true? A classic example of bad faith can be seen in the workplace. Imagine a person who is dissatisfied with their career but continues in it because they have already invested so much time, or because there is no other option. This person is denying their freedom to pursue something different, even if it means sacrificing their dreams and values. They are living in bad faith because they are transferring responsibility for their life to external factors, such as time invested or lack of alternatives. Another common example of bad faith appears in relationships. How many times have we heard someone say, "I only got married because that's what my family expected," or "I can't end this relationship because we've been together for years"? In these cases, the person is denying their freedom to choose what they truly want, choosing to follow external expectations instead of acting on their authentic feelings. But why do so many people resort to bad faith? The answer lies in the anguish that accompanies our freedom. As we saw in the previous chapter, being free means taking full responsibility for our choices, and this responsibility can be overwhelming, especially when our decisions have significant consequences. To avoid this anguish, many people prefer to pretend they have no choice, resorting to bad faith as a form of self-protection. However, living in bad faith comes at a high cost. By denying our freedom, we also deny our authenticity. We start living according to standards imposed by the outside world, instead of aligning our actions with our deepest values. This can lead to feelings of dissatisfaction, alienation, and even existential crises. After all, how can we be happy if we are constantly pretending to be someone we are not? Understanding bad faith is the first step to overcoming it. When we recognize that we are denying ourselves our freedom, we can begin to take responsibility for our choices and live more authentically. But how can we identify bad faith in our own lives? Here are some signs that can help you recognize when you are living in bad faith. You blame external factors for your choices. If you often say phrases like, "I had no choice," or "that's what they gave me," you may be denying your freedom to decide. You follow other people's expectations without question. If your decisions are based on what others expect of you, rather than what you truly want, you may be living in bad faith. You avoid making important decisions. If you put off making significant changes or decisions out of fear of the consequences, you may be running away from your personal responsibility. Recognizing these signs is essential to begin overcoming bad faith. However, it is not easy. Embracing our freedom and responsibility requires courage and self-compassion. It is a process that takes time and reflection, but every step in this direction is worth it. Before we continue, I would like to extend a special invitation. If you are finding this content useful and relevant, don't forget to give this video a like. In addition to helping me continue producing content like this, you will also be sharing this idea with more people. Now, let's get back to our journey. Overcoming bad faith is essential to living authentically. In the next chapter, we'll explore exactly that: how to embrace our true essence and live in alignment with our deepest values. You'll discover how authenticity can bring greater clarity and emotional freedom to your life. Get ready to dive even deeper into this transformation. In the previous chapter, we delved into the concept of bad faith and how it prevents us from embracing our personal freedom and responsibility. Now, let's explore the other side of that coin: authenticity. While bad faith distances us from who we really are, authenticity allows us to embrace our true essence and live according to our deepest values. But what exactly does it mean to be authentic? For Sartre, authenticity is the full acceptance of our human condition. It is recognizing that we are absolutely free and responsible for our choices, without denying or running away from this reality. Being authentic does not mean being perfect or always making the right decisions. It means, above all, taking responsibility for who we are and for the consequences of our actions. It is living in a way that is aligned with our values, even when it is difficult or challenging. But why is authenticity so important? The answer lies in the impact it has on our emotional and psychological lives. When we live authentically, we experience a sense of clarity and purpose. We no longer need to pretend to be someone we are not, or conform to standards imposed by the outside world. Instead, we begin to act in accordance with our most genuine desires and principles, which gives us a sense of freedom and fulfillment. Think about someone who has decided to leave a well-paying but unfulfilling job to pursue their true passion. They may have faced fear, uncertainty, and even criticism from those close to them. However, by taking ownership of their decision and acting on their values, they have experienced something rare and powerful: authenticity. They may not have all the answers or guarantees about the future, but they know they are living in alignment with who they truly are. Of course, living authentically isn't easy. It often means facing internal and external resistance. We may feel fearful of judgment, insecure about our choices, or even guilty about disappointing others. However, overcoming these obstacles is essential to achieving authenticity. Here are some practical thoughts that can help you on this journey. Know your values. To live authentically, it's essential to know what your deepest values are. What really matters to you? What makes you feel alive and fulfilled? Answering these questions can help you make decisions that are aligned with your true essence. Take responsibility for your choices. Remember that every decision you make reflects who you are. Even when circumstances are challenging, you always have the power to choose how you respond to them. Taking responsibility for yourself is a crucial step toward living authentically. Be honest with yourself. Authenticity starts with honesty. This means acknowledging your weaknesses, fears, and limitations without trying to hide or deny them. By facing your true identity, you create space for growth and transformation. Practice the courage to be yourself. Living authentically often takes courage. It may mean facing criticism, defying social expectations, or even changing significant aspects of your life. But remember, the courage to be yourself is the first step toward a more genuine and fulfilling life. Authenticity also brings tangible benefits to our emotional and relational lives. When we are authentic, we create deeper, more meaningful connections with others. People notice when we are being genuine, and this builds trust and respect. Additionally, living authentically helps us better deal with adversity because we know we are acting in accordance with our values, regardless of the circumstances. An inspiring example of authenticity can be found in the story of Mahatma Gandhi. He dedicated his life to the struggle for Indian independence, but he also faced many personal hardships along the way. Despite this, Gandhi always acted in accordance with his principles of non-violence and social justice. He took responsibility for his choices and never strayed from his true essence, even when it meant facing danger and sacrifice. His authenticity not only made him a remarkable historical figure, but also inspired millions of people around the world. In the next chapter, we'll explore practical steps you can start implementing today to find your true self and cultivate authenticity in your daily life. You'll discover concrete tools to identify areas of bad faith in your life and start living more authentically. Get ready to take the next step on this journey of self-discovery. In the previous chapter, we explored what it means to live authentically and how it can transform our emotional and relational lives. Now it's time to put these ideas into practice. After all, understanding the importance of authenticity is just the first step. The real challenge lies in applying this concept to your daily life and starting to live authentically. In this chapter, we'll explore some practical steps you can take today to find your true self and cultivate authenticity in your life. The first step to finding your essence is to reflect on your deepest values. What are the things that truly matter to you? What makes you feel alive and fulfilled? These questions may seem simple, but we often forget to answer them amidst the daily demands of life. Take some time to think about this. Write your answers down in a notebook or on a digital document. Being clear about your values is essential to making decisions that align with your true identity. A useful exercise for this reflection is to imagine that you only have 6 months to live. How would you like to spend that time? What activities would you prioritize? Who would be by your side? This visualization can help you identify what really matters to you beyond external expectations or social pressures. The second step is to identify areas of bad faith in your life. As we discussed earlier, bad faith occurs when we deny our freedom and responsibility by attributing our choices to external factors. Ask yourself, in what areas of my life am I pretending to be someone I'm not? Maybe you're in a relationship that's not good for you, but you stay in it out of fear of being alone. Or maybe you're in a career that's not fulfilling, but you stay in it for financial security. Recognizing these areas is the first step to changing them. To help you identify these areas, make a list of all the important areas of your life, work, relationships, hobbies, health, etc. Then evaluate each one from the following perspective. Does this area reflect who I really am? If the answer is no, it's a clear sign that something needs to change. Remember, you don't have to solve everything at once. Start by identifying small actions that can bring you closer to authenticity. The third step is to take small daily actions to cultivate authenticity. Significant change starts with small steps. For example, if you've realized that you're in a job that's not fulfilling, perhaps you could start by dedicating a few hours a week to exploring new options or developing skills related to your passion. If you've identified that you're in a toxic relationship, perhaps you could start by setting clear boundaries or seeking support to cope. Remember that living authentically doesn't mean making radical changes overnight. It's an ongoing process of self-discovery and adjustment. Every small step you take toward authenticity is a big step forward. Finally, the fourth step is to practice self-compassion. Often we want to change quickly, but end up frustrated when we realize we're still stuck in old patterns. Be kind to yourself on this journey. Recognize that overcoming bad faith and embracing authenticity is a process that takes time and patience. Celebrate each small victory along the way. Before we continue, I'd like to extend a special invitation. Share a reflection on your own journey in the comments. Have you identified any areas of bad faith in your life? Or perhaps you made a recent decision that brought you closer to authenticity. Your experiences may inspire others who are going through similar challenges. Plus, reading other viewers' comments can help you gain new perspectives and insights. Now back to our discussion. In the next chapter, we'll explore the main obstacles that can arise when trying to live authentically. You'll discover how to overcome internal and external resistance and stay strong on your journey of self-discovery. Prepare yourself to face the challenges that may arise along the way. In the previous chapter, we explored practical steps to finding your true self and starting to live more authentically. However, the journey toward authenticity is not without its challenges. We often face internal and external resistance that can derail us or even make us doubt our choices. In this chapter, we'll identify these obstacles and discuss how to overcome them to stay on track in your quest for authenticity. The first major obstacle is fear. Fear of judgment, fear of failure, fear of the unknown. These fears are natural, but they can also be paralyzing. When we decide to live authentically, we often have to step outside our comfort zone and face situations that scare us. Maybe you have to confront family expectations, leave a stable job, or take risks in search of something that truly fulfills you. Fear can try to convince you that it's better to stay where you are, even if it means continuing to pretend to be someone you're not. To overcome fear, it's important to remember that it's part of the growth process. Instead of avoiding it, embrace it as a sign that you're moving towards something meaningful. One helpful strategy is to break your goals down into small steps. For example, if you're afraid of changing careers, start by exploring new possibilities without any commitment. Take online courses, talk to professionals in the field, or dedicate a few hours a week to a related hobby. Each small step will reduce your fear and increase your confidence. Another common obstacle is peer pressure. Living authentically often means defying norms and expectations imposed by society, culture, or family environment. You may hear criticism or even face resistance from people close to you who don't understand your choices. This can be especially difficult when those people have good intentions but are still trying to shape your life around their own expectations. To deal with peer pressure, it's essential to cultivate a mindset of emotional independence. Remember that you can't control other people's opinions, but you can control how you respond to them. Practice asserting your values and decisions respectfully but firmly. If necessary, create clear boundaries to protect your authenticity. At the same time, seek support from people who share your vision and can encourage you on this journey. Another challenge is self-sabotage. Oftentimes, our own thoughts and behaviors can prevent us from moving forward. Self-sabotage occurs when we create internal obstacles such as procrastination, self-criticism, or excessive doubts about our abilities. These patterns often arise from limiting beliefs that we have accumulated throughout our lives. To overcome self-sabotage, start by taking a hard look at your thoughts and behaviors. When you find yourself criticizing yourself or putting off important decisions, ask yourself, is this behavior in alignment with who I really am? Replace negative thoughts with positive affirmations and remind yourself that you are capable of making meaningful changes. Also, practice self-compassion. Recognize that no one is perfect and that setbacks are part of the process. Finally, it's important to be prepared to face moments of uncertainty. Living authentically means letting go of certainties and embracing life's unpredictability. This can be uncomfortable, but it's also liberating. When we accept that we don't have complete control over the future, we can focus on the present and the choices we're making right now. Now that you know the main obstacles and strategies to overcome them, we are ready to conclude our journey. In the next chapter, we will reflect on everything we have learned and reinforce the importance of living authentically. Get ready for an inspiring final message that will motivate you to continue on this path of self-discovery. We've reached the end of this journey, but I hope this is just the beginning of your exploration of authenticity and personal identity. Throughout this video, we dive into deep concepts from Jean-Paul Sartre's philosophy, such as absolute freedom, existential responsibility, and the difference between bad faith and authenticity. We also explore practical steps to finding your essence and overcoming the obstacles that may arise in this quest. Remember, living authentically is not a goal to be achieved, but an ongoing process of self-discovery and alignment with your deepest values. Every choice you make, no matter how small, is an opportunity to embrace your freedom and shape your identity. No matter where you are now or what challenges you've faced in the past, the important thing is to take the next step with courage and clarity. If there's one thing I want you to take away from this video, it's the knowledge that you are absolutely free to choose who you want to be. This freedom can be scary at times, but it's also incredibly powerful. When you take responsibility for your choices and live in accordance with your true essence, you experience a sense of purpose and fulfillment that few other things in life can provide. Before I close, I would like to make a special invitation. If you are not yet subscribed to the channel, take the opportunity to click the subscribe button right now. This way, you will have access to more content like this, which will help you reflect on deep and transformative topics. Also, turn on notifications to be reminded whenever a new video is published. Together, we can continue this journey of growth and self-knowledge. To close, I leave you with a thought from Sartre. Man is nothing but what he does. So what are you going to do today to become who you truly are? Remember that every little action counts. Be kind to yourself, practice self-compassion, and celebrate each step you take toward authenticity. Thank you so much for watching this far. If this video inspired you or brought you any valuable insights, please share it in the comments. Your contribution may help others reflect on their own journeys as well. Until next time.